Okay, just thought I'd share my garden this year. So this is the same hydroponic strawberry tube that we ran last year. It did so well that we decided to do mostly hydroponics in the big garden. I did make an edit to this year, so basically there's always water standing in this tube, and in between each of the gnat pots is a sprayer. The sprayer kicks on a couple minutes every, I think it's set to kick on 4 minutes every 30 minutes. So that sprays and gets the portion of the roots that's not in the water wet, keeps them nice and moist. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward. It's like a combination of what's an NFT plus a water culture. It's like a hybrid. So if something happens to the pump on this, I've got a couple days to figure it out, because the lower roots are in the water, so these guys aren't going to die in a day. And we had some trouble with that last year. I think the hose came off of the pump a couple times. So this is the timer. Yeah, I think it's set. You set your on time, which is about 4 minutes, and your off time, yeah, which is about 25 minutes ish. So every 25 minutes this guy's gonna turn on, and that turns on the pump, which is like a little 1/3 horsepower utility pump I picked up at Menards. I keep it in this reservoir. It looks like this reservoir needs a little water and maybe some nutrients. So that's the system from last year. It's been modified. Last year the sprayers were all inside, and they kept getting clogged up, and it's just horrible to maintain. So really like having the sprayers that you can get to from the outside. It's a big improvement this year. Then for the big garden, we've got onions that are poking through plastic tarp to keep the weeds down. We've got potatoes in dirt in Menards buckets. We've got a couple squash behind the potatoes. I'll show you. Those are just in dirt through holes in the fabric. These on the A-frame are all bush beans, different varieties. And we've got some tomato plants, hydroponic, in these Menards buckets. A whole bunch of strawberry tubes out there, and a couple like kiddie pools that I'm going to plant lettuce and herbs in. So let's get a close-up of the onions. It's kind of a pain in the butt to plant onions through a tarp, but man, is it easy to take care of once it's done. The potatoes are loving it. I think we'll do good this year on potatoes. Plenty of leaves up here to feed some nice potatoes down there. There's the 2 squash, and hopefully they fill this whole area with nice butternut squash. And the apple tree. Let's go around this way, get a look at the beans. The beans are pretty happy. All except for the top row. The top row, I didn't have time, and I planted them a week apart from the others. So the others are nice and short. But these, on the top 2 tubes, got a little bit lanky before I got them in here. And the wind has blown some of them over. But it looks like they're going to shoot new stems at the lowest node. So They should end up being pretty stocky, pretty short and compact, I hope. And here's a look at these tomatoes are Sweet 100s. They seem to love the hydroponics. So the way these work is I've got an overflow tube, and then I've got 2 sprayers going in, and they spray every, I want to say 20 minutes right now, for about 10 seconds, and it gets the roots nice and wet, and then everything levels off with this overflow. Yeah, so Sweet 100s love it. These are Brandywine Pinks. These two, they almost died, but they've came back really well. And then I've got some Brandywine, I think they're called Sudeth strain. Now they started out doing really good, but then at about this height, they kind of died off. You can still see some of the dead foliage in there. I think it's when I had a bunch of leaks and my nutrients got out of whack, and these Brandywine Sudeth strains may be sensitive to that. Because once I've topped off the tank and got the nutrients right, the new growth looks excellent. Got more tubes here. They work the same as up on the patio. They're smaller. They're a 4-inch tube, but still with 2-inch nap pops. And these strawberries are doing excellent. We've got flowers everywhere and little strawberries starting off. So that's really cool. I did stick a couple herbs in here. We've got some spearmint, some basil. Smells really good. Looks like we got a cucumber here and a bean. This is my wife's experiment. And then on the end we got a couple of cucumbers there, and there. And it looks like they got the same nutrient burn that the Brandywine Sudeth strain had. But now they're doing great. We already picked 1 cucumber. And this guy, he'll probably be ready in 2 days or so. They grow really fast. Oh, got a bonus. I didn't do anything with this area, and corn from last year just came up, so I'm just gonna let it go. Oh yeah, another bonus. There's a gap in the fabric, and I think these are Sweet 100s from last year or Sun Sugars. I think I'm just gonna let them grow up and see how they do. These 2 swim pools, they're gonna work similar to the buckets. I'm just gonna put lettuce and herbs directly in the styrofoam here and just let it float on top here. I'll probably just put 1 sprayer because I just really want to keep this topped off, and some overflow tubes. Everything drains back to this 55-gallon drum that's buried. Probably hard to see, but there's a sump pump in there that pumps water back into the big 330-gallon reservoir when it gets too full. And on the side of the reservoir are all my sprinkler valves. So each sprinkler valve controls a section of the hydroponics. So I have these paired in two tubes to a valve. So that's a valve, that's a valve, valve, valve. That last tube is on the same valve as those tomatoes. And then the bean tubes, the top 2 are on the same valve, so they're at the same pressure. Those 2 are also on the same valve, and then the bottom 2 are on the same valve with these 2 tomatoes. And that's probably where I'll put the sprinkler for these 2 swim pools. All the sprinklers are 24 volts AC. So inside this block is a transformer and an Arduino Uno, a power supply, and I'm growing a boy. His name's Wyatt. And we're growing a dog named Junebug. So this is the brains. There's an Arduino Uno. It switches on and off 16 solid state relays. And those relays switch on and off the 24 volt output from the transformer to each of the sprinkler valves. So pretty straightforward. A lot of valves, a lot of connections, a lot of leaks to fix at first, but now that everything's up and running, I'm super happy with it. I think we're going to get a ton of strawberries and a ton of tomatoes. So that's kind of it. I'll do an update when I get the lettuce and herbs planted in these 2 swim pools. So looking good.